Jordan Tower with JT News. Well, recent comments from Rick Ross, I can only come up with one thing, that he wants beef with Drake. He wants beef with Drake himself.
Nigga, respect whoever your big homies is, you wrong.
Now, there's a lot to this, so listen to me all the way through, and please understand, I'm a Meek fan, I'm a Drake fan, I like Rick Ross too. I like them all. But when it comes down to that beef, the Meek Mill and Drake beef, that's what we're talking about here, okay? So when Rick Ross is asked, do you think that Meek Mill lost? Of course he says no, he didn't lose nothing, because he has, he's still making money, he's gonna go, plus that's his artist, he's supposed to say that. You don't fucking throw your artist under the bus. Come to his defense. That's your artist. You're on the same team, MMG.
Like, nigga ain't lose to nobody. You gotta study the game.
But Rick Ross takes it a step further in his recent comments. He alludes back to the 50 Cent beef, which we know came out of nowhere when he dissed 50 Cent. He claims that 50 looked at him wrong. That's where it came from. And then he also said, I didn't like 50 Cent being a bully to like Wayne and everybody taking like subliminals at him, so I took on this beef myself. And then he went through his beef with 50, and he outworked 50 because 50 wasn't focused on music then, and he didn't really take it seriously because there was nothing behind it. It wasn't like a Ja Rule beef where there was an actual fight and people got shot behind it. It was just like a rap beef that was someone he never worked with before in his life, so he didn't take it seriously, and Rick Ross kind of held his own. I can't say he won or 50 won, but Rick Ross survived the beef, and a lot of people didn't survive 50 beefs in the past. So it was, we didn't know how it was going to work out, especially everything working against Rick Ross, that he was a CEO and everything. But he overcame the beef and was bigger than ever because of it, right? So recently, he's been saying, oh, well, I'm the underdog, and I always like to pick my fights with people who don't, it wouldn't necessarily, like, you wouldn't think the outcome would be that I would win. He likes to be the underdog in a situation. Now, the more comments he says about this, you're going to see that he really is baiting Drake to diss him so he can take this beef on himself.
Always been an underdog. I love it. I love it. I love going against the odds. That I create issues with doing what somebody people would assume that I couldn't.
Rick Ross claims he is not willing to talk to Drake and work this through with him and Meek Mill and everything. He's not willing to talk to Drake. It's wartime. And he's basically saying, I'm different than all these guys. I'm willing to take it to a different level. I'm willing to go farther than you. And he starts taking shots at Drake's subliminals, because we all know Drake is signed to, like, he has Jay Prince. He signed to Jay Prince. Then he has another manager. Then Cash Money. So many people. His money's split in many different ways. And then he's like, I know what Meek Mill's getting in his bank account, but what are you getting in your bank account? Taking shots at Drake. But let's look at the level of artist here, okay? Meek Mill is like, see, now don't get this confused, guys. I'm a fan of Meek Mill and Drake. I'm not taking anything away from Meek's talent. But let's not, the facts are Drake is a pop artist that's getting $250,000 a night to perform, and he's selling multi-platinum on his albums. Meek isn't at that level. That's just facts, guys. Maybe Meek deserves to be at that level, but he's not at that level. So we know even if Drake's money is portioned up, he's still making a lot more than Meek Mill. Who cares? But the point is, Rick Ross is taking shots at Drake because he's baiting Drake to diss him. He wants in on this beef.
No, but I'm a different type of nigga. This DNA a little different. I go further than you willing to go. I know, you know what I'm saying? I know what Meek Mill getting. Everybody don't know what they business like. G enough to whatever the issue is. You just let it go out of control.
Rick Ross's latest comments confirm to me that he's baiting Drake into a beef. Now, why is he doing that? I'll tell you in a minute. I think I know why, but he's basically saying you're assuming people are scared of your big homies, referring to Jazz Prince, who everybody kind of fears in the music industry. There's a lot of tales about him. He pretty much is like the head of Texas. Remember, he was behind Rap a lot. That's who Drake is signed to for management. Or, he's the link to Cash Money, So basically, That's his big homie. People fear him, and it gets Drake that pass. But Rick Ross is basically saying, I ain't scared of him. I ain't scared of your big homies. But then he tries to, like, back out of that. Because, you don't want to really have a problem with Jazz Prince, right? He has to go to Texas, But basically, he says, referring to me. He says that, but that's not what he meant. I could tell it was like a backtracking statement. And then he basically says, he says he's basically with the shits. I'm willing to jump off the porch for my homie and for some beef. Now, why is he doing this? Why is he baiting Drake into dissing him? Well, first of all, Rick Ross isn't as hot as he was 4 years ago. Does it matter? Not really, because Rick Ross is diversified. He's into Wingstops. He's making plenty of money. Money's not the issue. Fame is a drug, guys. Fame is a drug. And when fame dwindles, he's still famous, but he's not as famous and as in demand as he was 4 years ago when BMF was out and all that. The BM Blowing Money Fast song was out and he was popping, So, like, he wants that energy back, and he gained that energy through the beef with 50 Cent, who was the Drake of that time, like popularity-wise. Not even at that time. He just had that stigma because, 50 had already gone through his peak moments, but still, it was like when you have beef with someone of that stature, it brings a lot of attention and light on the beef. I mean, just look at the Meek Mill and Drake beef. I'm sure Meek Mill has a lot more fans because of this beef. Is it a positive thing? Probably not. But if Meek Mill drops some fire music right now, more people are going to listen to it. It can actually turn into a good thing. So let's not, negate the fact that this could be really good. But Rick Ross wants this beef with Drake. He wants it bad.
Tighten up. A nigga respect whoever your big homies is. You wrong. Renzel gonna jump off the porch on your ass.
If Drake takes the bait and disses Rick Ross and this turns into something with Meek Mill, Rick Ross versus Drake, this is going to be interesting because DJ Khaled has an allegiance with Drake and an allegiance with Rick Ross. It's going to divide him, and it's going to make him maybe choose, I mean, it's going to be weird. This is just going to cause a little, like, awkwardness. Yeah, that's it. I don't think Khaled would always stay neutral, but it's going to be awkward. It's going to be very awkward for a lot of people.